Whoa, good Monday morning, coming to you live from inside the Boosted 5.0. You guys know this is a little bit of car talk. This is for my 5.0 guys today. I want to fill you in on the car. And like I say, it's always constant updates with the car and let you guys know what's going on. Now, before anybody thinks I'm about to sell the car, no, I would never get rid of this. Now, I got the title. I just paid it off. My first car that I ever owned in 37 years of existence. They had plenty of cars, but this is my baby. It's a 55th year anniversary edition, Gen 3 2020 year model. Like I say, stick shift. You guys know the car. Performance pack, fully loaded, all the good shit. Mine's Matner ride. So here's the thing. You guys know about the shifter situation. I had an exhaust leak. I finally found it. When I was underneath the car, telling you guys about the shifter situation, which that's going to get rectified this week. I ended up noticing right where my catalytic converters meets the X pipe, the clamps there wasn't snug properly, should I say. The X pipe runs back to my stock axle back, and it's all BBK from the long tooth all the way back to the axle back with the high flow cats, and more on that in a second. And so the X pipe wasn't forward enough. It was still a little bit back, so it wasn't sealed properly, so that was causing a leakage. So they went on ahead and readjusted the pipes, lined them all up, tightened everything down, and right where the cat pipe meets the X pipe, they went ahead and put a little tack there. They went on top, sides, and in the backs, so that coupler won't move. Because it's a stock coupler. I don't think BBK put couplers in there. I didn't really check all the equipment when I got it. That's something that I'm gonna start doing more often to make sure that they're there. So they went on ahead, snugged everything back down, tightened everything back up. No more exhaust leak, because I have been smelling exhaust gases, and I noticed, and what really made me look under the car besides the shifter, I noticed the other day when I pulled out of my driveway that I seen like black drops where the car was sitting at. Of course, it wasn't my engine because it was underneath the center of the car. So I'm like, well, it can't be oil. It must be exhaust. So maybe some oil is blowing out the exhaust. I'm like, well, I'm going to check. So when I got in the car, I looked up, I seen the sulk and just put two and two together. And there was exhaust gases. When water hit the exhaust, it dripped down with the water. And that's what that black shit was pulling in the driveway. But about the high flow cats, because you guys know I done pull it down in this car. And it's going to be going back to the dyno. Before I pull it down to the 120 on the one, and I came from the 125 on the G2 head unit. I don't have a G3. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second as well. And the reasons why I didn't want a G3. The high flow cats still has restrictions, right? With the stock exhaust, before I went from long tubes all the way back to the axle back, and the axle back is still stock. I got active exhaust, so that's a very pricey upgrade for the active exhaust. I gotta get one that fit the BBK, and just the active exhaust pipes alone, it's like $1,500-$1,600. So I got long tubes, X pipe, and high flows for like $1,600. So that's why I went with everything first, minus the axle back. But it will be getting upgraded eventually. So this car made $595 on the stock pulley. Matter of fact, I'm in my car. Let me get the dyno sheet here. I have it here in the car. Let me see. And this was with the stock pulley. And once again, it's been dynoed since before I had the stuff did that, you know, that's on it now, the 120 that's on it now. It was dynoed again. But the first time I had it dynoed, and this is when I had some other issues going on. I had a valve cover leak, so I was leaking a little bit of oil. I done fixed that. I had the UPR all top with the breather to help with the positive crankcase ventilation. That kind of ended up failing as well. So pretty much this car had made, I'm gonna put it up here, and it's an STD. So, you know, at the first time it dyno, it made, like I say, you can see it right there. It made $595 at 6,700 RPM. So he didn't take out with the red line because I got stock, you know, oil pump gears. And it made 490 foot-pounds of torque at 5,800 RPM. And it's a smooth graph all the way up. The car pretty much drives NA until you goose it. And, you know, during that time, too, the blow-off valve wasn't really on right. I had spacers in the blow-off valve. There was a lot of things going on. And I just rectified all of that. and went with the tile blow-off valve. But the kit does, depending on your octane and all that, this G2 here, in the kit, and I got the G3 in the cooler, it does indicate 580 to up to 800 horsepower, depending on your mods and stuff like that. So when I first had it down, it was stock exhaust. Like I say, the blow-off valve from Precision wasn't set up right. I had a couple of minute issues going on, but it still made almost 600 to the tire. I took it to the shop that I've been working with ever since, and it put right at 600. And that's before I figured out the blow-off valve situation and all that shit too. It put out right at 600, at 7,500 RPM, and like right at the same amount of torque. It was like 498 at about 58, 5,900. Now, what I did notice when I looked at the dyno charts, the shop that did the second pull couldn't send me the charts. He had an issue, but he did take a picture, and you can barely see it, so it's not like I'm gonna use it. But I'm gonna re-download it again, because now I'm pull it down and button up a lot of stuff. It's gonna be, download again. But run the run, especially comparing that chart to the chart I'm looking at, since I got long tubes on the car, it looked like, based on the second pull with the different shop, that from about 5,500 to about 71, it made like 15 more horsepower, and that's all because of the long tubes. Because they make power higher up in the RPM band, right? But it still comes down and link up like right at about the same power wise. It made just 5 more horsepower wise. And a lot of that got to do with the cats, and that was on the 125 pulley. I haven't downloaded the 120. I'm gonna keep emphasizing that. But the first pull that I just showed you, which I did 2 years ago, that was stock exhaust. And when I take it back, it's gonna make a lot more power because it's a different pulley on the car. But the graph showed from about 5,500 to about 7,000 in certain spots, up to about 15 more horsepower, and that's because of the long tubes, the X pipe, and the high flow cats. Now, the cats still have a restriction. If I didn't have the cats on this car, whether it be stock cat delete, the BBK cat delete, it doesn't matter. If I didn't have cats in the car, when you boost the car, that picks up easily anywhere from 20 to up to 40 horsepower. Some cases 50. All depends on the size of the blower, okay? So I'm anticipating this car as it stands right now with the high flow cats, the X pipe, the long tubes, the NGK 6510s, gap that 0.28, the 0.028, the FIC's 1000s, the 355 gears. It's tuned by Lund. It has the RXT 1000 McLeod clutch in here. Like I say, it's long tube, X pipe, high flow cats, and I got a BMP booster pump, and that's really it. There's nothing, no big mods on the car besides that. I'm looking to make about 640 to the tires, 630 to 640. I'm making about 2 more pounds of boost. From 600, I'm averaging about 20, 25 pounds of boost. So I would go from 640 no higher than 650. That's because of the cats. There are guys with the same setup with the cat deleted that's making 680, 690 because the cats still have restrictions. So this is a daily driver. I live in Georgia. And so they do exhaust tests, I think, every like 2 or 3 years. So I'm tempted to do a cat delete until it's time for me to have another emissions test and put the cats back on. I just don't want no engine light. I mean, it's a minute issue. The N-Gauge can take it off per drive cycle. I just go in there and turn off the light. But it's just an issue that I really don't want. I don't have to come here all the time and turn off lights. Even with the cat delete, if I get the bong to go inside there to kind of trick the computer, with it not being a cat on there, the amount of air that might be coming out could still trigger a light. But I'm very tempted to see, because, it would be nice to pick up additional 20 to up to 40 more horses with just deleting the cats. Another reason why I want the G3 to me, it's the best of both worlds, but honestly, I'm not looking to make no more than 800. With the G3, I'll be making over 800, especially when you go on E85. I mean, there was a guy that was wondering why we're making the same amount of boost on the same pulley, but why he's making 30 to 40 more horsepower. And it's simple. With stock exhaust and everything, like I told him, it's simple. At your 9 pounds of PSI, you're blowing more air. More air, more fuel, more power. My 9 pounds isn't blowing the same amount of air. So I'm lagging at least 20 horsepower, 20 to 30 horsepower. That's indeed why. He has a G3 with stock exhaust. I think he's making right at 680 on the 120 with stock exhaust. I'm probably making about 640 to 650 if I'm a betting man with the stock exhaust. I mean, with the exhaust with the high flow cats. The moment he take the cats off his car, because he has stock exhaust, and he ain't upgraded. Once he remove those cats, he's gonna probably make 720, easy, on that same pulley. The moment he go E85, 790, 800 is easy. That's easy with that setup. He's gonna net about 40, 50 more horses easy. I don't want to see 800, so I didn't want to get the G3. The G2, if I really push it, and I'm the 115, 110 on E85, we'll put it at 800. Or be the absolute most I would want to go. But honestly, I don't want to make it an E85 only vehicle. I want to be able to ride 93 and then retune it. Whenever I decide to put the fuel system in here, Lund will send me an E85 only tune and a 93 only tune, because they don't do flex fueling no more. If they still had the flex fuel option, it would be nice, but a lot of people, they don't understand it. So either you're gonna have to run E85, and then when I want to go 93, I have to sit, I had to pull into a gas station, pull up to a pump, swap tunes, takes about 6 minutes on average, swap the tune back to a 93 only tune, and then run 93 in the fucking car. Where if it been the flex fuel, run it down to about 3 miles to empty, pull into a goddamn gas station, fill up on 93, sit for about 2 minutes, crank it up, sit for about 2 minutes, and then drive off. And after about 10 miles of driving, you have pure 93 running through the car, and it'll been easier. But now you're gonna have to swap between tunes. But this car, the way it drives, the way it feels, the way it performs, I love it. The RXT clutch is very aggressive. I like it because I know I can do a lot with it, and I'm not gonna be close to having the clutch fail, because I'm not making 1,000 horsepower. But I know with this clutch being in this car, with the amount of power that I have, it's a little bit of overkill to the car. So I'm still kind of, I guess, going back and forth between the spec rated for about 800 horses or the RXT, the RST from McLeod, which is rated for about 800 horses as well. Like I said, I'm not going to max at 800, but coming close like 730, 740, and that's when you swap the E85 on this 120. That's going to be enough clutch to know that I'm not going to have an issue. And then whenever I decide to want to go ahead and go for 800, the 115 on here, it'll make 800, most likely 85. And it'll be a fun car to drive when I want to go out and have fun at night. The only problem is, if I leave the 115 on, I have to run octane in the car at all times. And running octane booster all the time will cause spark plug problems, because it's going to mud up your spark plugs, and your fuel injectors could get clogged up. So it's one of those things where if you put the 115 in, you have to run that type of octane. Now, what I can say is, and I've seen that ESS is doing it, they're having pulleys. I've seen one like a 120 or 122.5 pulley, 120. If they'll make like a 117 and a half, something like that, to where it's making maybe about a pound more of boost, 1 to 2 pounds. 3 is really pushing it, but 2 pounds of boost, you might can get away with still running 93, because I'm making no more than 10, maybe 11 pounds of boost. You don't want to go higher than, 12 pounds of boost on 93 with this high compression engine you're asking for. So if they make like a 117.5, or you make maybe another pound, maybe a pound and a half, that's an additional 20, 30 horsepower, I think you'll still be safe. That way you ain't gotta go to the 115 and have to run E85 exclusively. You can still get away with 93 pump gas, and you know, if you have cat deletes on the car, you can still make 700 to the tires on pump with the G2. You know, what people don't understand is PSI and airflow matters. The amount of pressure versus the amount of airflow is going to dictate if your engine goes. When you put 12 pounds of boost, so all that PSI in the engine that's on pump gas with a 12-to-1 compression, that's going to have a lean issue up top. The fuel just ain't going to be worth the fuck. It ain't going to be like E85 where it's very dense fuel to where you can, you know, have a rich atmosphere to where you won't have to worry about your engine going kaboom. So that's how the G3 and the G2 compare. I'm making 20, 25 horsepower per pound of boost. G3's making somewhere between, I'll say 30 to 35 horsepower per pound of boost. So it makes on average about 5 to 10 pounds, horsepower more. So that's why you see the numbers that you see them at the same boost level, but it's flowing in more air, so it's not making that much PSI. It's enough air coming out at that PSI level to where the fuel is enough to cause a detonation. The moment you get past 10, really 11 PSI on these engines on stock octane, you're asking for a problem. So that's why I went with the G2. Yes, it's a smaller head unit, but I'm not looking to make big power. Now, I will say this. If I decide, because I'm going to get a truck, and I know ESS, I'm pretty sure they can make a centrifugal cell for a truck, right? But if not, if I decide to go get me another Mustang, and I would prefer to get a Gen 2, or if I do another Gen 3, I'm looking for maybe a GT 350 or a Mach 1. But honestly, I'm not trying to get another car note. So if I can see me a Gen 2 stick shift, I know the MTA2s and the Gen 2s ain't worth the fuck. So most likely I'm gonna probably go with the band caliber if I go that route, or go ahead and upgrade shifting components. So I ain't gotta do a built transmission, but I can upgrade the shifting components, add another short throw shifter to it, go to a lower gear in the rear end, like a 331 the rear end, and that way it's not being too aggressive on the MTA2. Oh, and I got a drive shaft coming for this car too as well. So I'm like I said, I'm gonna flip some drive shaft, some weight back there. But if I get me another Mustang, or hell, even a Corvette, they make kits for the Corvette too. I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. But if I get another Mustang or a Corvette, one or two, not the C8, I prefer like a C7 or something like that, then I'll go with the G3 head unit. I'll do it then. And because it won't be my daily driven car. If I give another vehicle and supercharge another car, it's gonna be something that it's gonna be going to the track. It's gonna be driven once every 3 or 4 weeks, because I'm gonna put some power in that motherfucker. This is a daily driven car, so I didn't want to be making too much power and going through components and shit like that and have to constantly fix shit. That's why. On the street, it's a fun car. You put this on the track, you gotta have slicks and all that shit, because once you start getting traction at the track, you're asking for transmission problems, you're asking for half shaft problems, you're asking for a lot of shit. So it won't be going to the track. The next vehicle I decide to get, which it'll be a truck, but if I can find me a car to where I can pay it off cash, or the notes is very cheap and I can build it real quick, then I'll put the G3 in there. But this car, I still got a lot of work that I'm gonna do to it. It's getting Lawrence Springs, as you guys know, here in a few weeks. Drive shaft gonna get put on. I'm gonna put the hot kit from Steeder on this motherfucking car. I love the tires, the rims. There's no need to get 20 by 9s in the back and all that shit. I love the way that it is. I want to keep it as stock looking as possible. I'm probably gonna add another front splitter in the front, And then, of course, I'm going to be upgrading the rear axle. And then the last thing that's going on this car is, of course, the fuel system upgrade from Ford Intervention. So once I do that, this car will be done. It'll be going to a lot of car shows. So you'll see me at some car shows here in Georgia. But as of right now, that's what's going up the car. I plan on taking it back to the dyno here when it warms up a little bit, because if I take it now, it's cool outside, it's going to make a lot of power. I don't want that. I want to take it sometime in March, maybe early April, when it's like about 75 to 80 degrees here on average here in Georgia. Take it to the shop that's been working on the car, and anxious to see if it put down about 630, 640. You know, it's going to be on pump gas, no octane booster, none of that. Straight pump gas. It makes 640 to 650. I'm good with that. And then we'll start doing some more mods and upgrades after that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I just wanted to touch bases with you guys, let you know that's what's going on with the car right now. So it's going back to the shop this week to get the mount removed from the body so it can stay exclusively trans-mounted. And then the next step is lowering springs. After that, the steel stop the hop kit's going to go on. I'm going to try to get that on by before the fall. And then this time next year, I'll be putting the Ford Innovation fuel system on the car to where I can run E85. But I'll be putting everything on my channel as the car continues to grow. And don't worry, I will be doing some footage of me driving around town, doing some pulls. Who knows? I may be going to Mexico. I'm not going to lie. I am planning to go down to Florida. Normally I go to Tampa for football purposes, but I plan on going down to Hialeah. Out there in the Everglades. We call that Mexico. I ain't gonna tell you the highway, but you know, but I plan on going down there because I want to do some spirited driving with a lot of the gearheads down there. Once I get a date in mind, I will let you guys know, but it will be sometime during the summer. Go down there. I don't want to say the channel because I don't want people, but most of you can read between the lines. You guys know South Florida. There's a guy out there on his grind. He uploads racing videos every day. I might be a spectator or I might be a participator. It all depends on what's out there when I go down in that day and who's willing to run me. Of course, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm not going to try to run no 1,000 horsepower car and get embarrassed on YouTube. That's not going to happen. So when I get the car re-dyno and everything, I see how much I'm making, I'm going to try to be comparative and race the same guys and making the same amount of horsepower and just have some fun and do that there. So that's my plans for the summer. And I know going down to South Florida in the summertime, that is going to cut some power down if I do it during the day. So it might be an evening run where it's like in mid to upper 70s to where the car can make optimal power and everything. Because I race during the day, it's like 90 degrees outside, like 80% humidity. I'm gonna lose a lot of power. Anybody that's supercharged or even turbocharged will too. So it'll still be an 11 playing field, but I really want to go down there when ideal conditions are good and really have some fun with the guys down there. They love to have fun, and so I'm all about that too. So when I get a date in mind, you guys will know, and of course I'll be bringing you footage on my channel as well when I go down there. So I'm not gonna say the spot because I don't want people to try to go out there, the narcs, the cops to go out there, but I know the spot's set. Yeah, I already did my recon. I know where the spot's set. I know what highway is on, so I plan on going down there and having some fun. So that being said, guys, that's all about the 5.0. I gotta do some other content today. Talk about the WWE, what's going on with the title runs. We're gonna talk about some more Hodge Twins videos. I'm gonna talk about some more what the fuck are you doing? Fitness advice videos, and of course I gotta talk about Greg Doucette. And later on this week, the members will be getting exclusive content as well. So that's gonna be about police activity, some politics stuff, and some obesity type stuff that some of my members that join the channel love me to talk about. So stay tuned for that. And then of course no lives from this week. I'm doing content today and tomorrow. Then I'm done for the rest of the week. So you guys won't see me again until next week. And I probably won't upload no videos unless it's something very important I need to talk about that's going to come out. So you might not see me until next Friday for the live stream. Well, it might not be no content at all next week because I got to get a lot of catching up and shit like that after I get back from my anniversary. So that being said, hope you guys enjoy it. Let me get started on the next videos. And now I'm out, guys. Peace.